Innis Gunn. Hi, it's Brainmuffin back with another beer review. In fact, two beer reviews, two at the same time. Now this one comes as a request from a guy on YouTube known as the man from Corsica. I don't know if he makes any videos, but he has been commenting on some of mine as well as on the World Class Bullshitters over there on their channel. And he requested this one. So this was Innis Gunn Rum Aged, beer aged with rum oak chips. So I found it. Took some time. I had to go to Jungle Jim's and really dig for it. It wasn't in the imports, it was in the singles. I don't know, sure why. In the build your own six-pack area. They kind of rearranged since I've been there last. But I also picked up the original because I wanted to know what this beer tasted like before they aged it on oak. So here we go. So we have already done videos on how to pour beer properly, and if you don't know how to do that by now, go watch my other video. So we're going to let this one foam. This stuff has been sitting out. It's probably a little on the warm side because of my neighbors constantly making noise. It's been a trying day trying to get these things going. So I'm going to pour them both and let them breathe a bit. Looks to be artificially carbonated. That's run-of-the-mill for, it's kind of standard operating procedure for most breweries these days, even the craft brewers. Most of the time they use a bright tank. It's very rare you're going to get conditioned. It'll say on there, now that has a much better head. That might be a little different. So this one is aged for 77 days, naturally carefully matured prior to release. This one has carefully matured 57 days prior to release. What I don't know is if it's the 57 after the 77. I suspect it is, but I don't know. So it's interesting that the source ale is done. So this is 5.6 and 5.8, so it looks like it's picking up a little bit of alcohol from the rum, probably in the rum barrels. That's par for the course. So I have all these ready to go on Untappd. Excuse me, whatever your name is. Nice abs. So, yeah, I must say I poured that one very poorly. The thing about carbonation is it really is not supposed to be ingested, because then you just belch or fart. It's really to bring the flavor of the beer to your nose and cleanse your tongue. That's it. So that's a bit sweet. The Scottish export ale, well, that makes sense. Although the export ale, they do some things that they normally wouldn't do for a Scottish beer or even a wee heavy, which I made a wee heavy not too long ago. I'm not a big fan of them, but that one's pretty good. It's a bit on the sweet side, so I would definitely pair that with something spicy. I like spicy and sweet combinations when it comes to beer pairings. I really don't know why. A lot of beers are real sweet by themselves. I don't like them. Negro Modelo is a great example, which I've said in other reviews. But that one's good. As a Scottish export ale, I'll give that a solid 3.5, which is what I'm going to check in on Untappd on that one. So, but it's a bit flat, and maybe I poured it poorly. I mean, I know I just made a wise crack about people pouring beer, and then I screwed up myself, which is actually good. That's karma getting me back in the butt. Color's nice. I thought export ales were supposed to be a little more red than that, but that's not bad. That's a good, you know, what's 6.6%? That's a little high for a session beer, but that's definitely something you can enjoy with the meal very easily. It's probably going to go with a lot of stuff. You could even do some semi-sweet ribs. You could even do some good Chinese with that. You could definitely do some good French food because you're going to have the pungentness of the garlic, or Italian. You get that garlic coming back at you. With this washing it off, that would probably be a really good thing. I would definitely try to get a better pour than the Weisenheimer did, because you don't want all that fizz. It is a really fizzy beer, and that's going to make you feel full before you're really done eating. And now the dogs are whining again. So that's not bad. And I'm going to go straight to this because my cheese is over there and I don't feel like getting off camera to get it. And normally what I would want to do is a little bit of cheese in between these. So this is a, let's see if I can go back to my search. 2 Ins, Innis Gunn. This is the rum finished. So this is Scottish export ale again. Wow. I get the maltiness off of that, but I don't really get much rum at all. At least on the nose. Let's see. Oh my, that is really good. I wonder what rum barrels they use. That is and that is so smooth. Wow, and it's very sweet. So you have the sweetness, and if they use a decent rum, it'll probably be a little tart. But man, that is even the foam is really good. I know I'm looking down a lot, but that's got some good color. So you can see the difference in the color between these two. This is picking up a little bit of reddishness, a little bit darker brown tint, but there's a little bit of hints of red in there from the barrel itself. That's what that charcoal. Most barrels are the oak barrels are. You tend to do flame in there or charcoal stuff like that. Depends on the range. Some don't, some do. But it's definitely picked up some from the rum. I'm guessing I'm sure on here in tiny ass print, a little smaller than I can actually read it. This ruby red beer has been aged with rum oak chips, resulting in a brew that delicious character. See, ruby red, told you. Is bursting with fruit and warming spiciness. I don't get any fruit, but definitely the warming spices. These vibrant flavors perfectly balance the beer's toffee malt backbone. See, and which have led it to win numerous awards. Okay, blah blah blah. So it's won medals and gold medals and all that. So, which I can see why. That is very good. I've had a lot of bourbon aged barreled beers, but very few rums. So I don't have much to compare it against. And I'm not much of a rum drinker. I have some, other than like maybe Captain Morgan's spicy rum. But okay, there's the fruit. Yeah, there it is. It's kind of a semi-dark, almost like a persimmon and it's like a mix between a persimmon and a fig. Let's go back to the original. See, that's even gotten better now as it's warmed up some. I should have done a more vigorous pour. Not knowing how fizzy a beer is, that's part of the problem, especially on camera. But I'd definitely give that a solid 4.5, and that's what I'm putting in Untappd. And isn't her name Jillian? Anyway, so that is really good. So Man from Corsica, I thank you for the suggestion, sir. That is a very good beer. Could have with just about anything. And, but man, I would want to do smoked meats. Almost smoked anything. I don't care if it's fish, chicken, ribs, pork. I don't know why, but I get smoked anything, asparagus spears, and garlic mashed potatoes. That's just what I get with that. Maybe I need to extend my knowledge of food so I can pair it with more stuff. Because you could probably do some Caribbean stuff too. It's not only smoked but has a spiciness to it. I've got some Caribbean spices that, magic spice? Yeah. Make something with magic spice. A smoked meat and then cooked with magic spice. Oh my. That would be good. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out magic spice in the Caribbean. So that beer, Man from Corsica, I just want you to know, unlocked 2 badges from Untappd. So we got God Save the Queen level 8 and Wee Bit of the Scotch. So looks like I've got a very first one on that. Got to try 5 more. Maybe I'll do my own and then I'll get a level 2 on that. But that unlocked, very good. I want to thank you for the recommendation. That's definitely one that next time I go to a beer, bottle share with some friends, which is where I do most of my drinking anymore. And so we're only doing, I'm only doing 2 to 4 ounces depending on how heavy it is. So I can try. I want to try everything. I want to try it all. The sours, all of it. And some I'm like, and some I don't. And then I get a bazillion check-ins, and I'm not, I'm still on my feet. So, and I would definitely drink this in this kind of a glass. This isn't bad. It's still quite fizzy. See, this almost looks, even the foam is very different on these 2 beers. This is definitely a bright tank foam. But I'm not so sure on this. I think they may have primed it in the barrels and then just filtered the yeast when they bottled it, and then the foam would be there. Because this foam is really, if not, that is really great bright tank foam, or they're using nitrogen. Usually the widget for that though, but because it's nice and small bubbles, very smooth. The thing with bright tanks is they tend to be, unless it's a heavier beer, it's almost like a soda as far as head. As you can see, it's very thin. But you know, that's what we're going for. This almost, man, I get very lagery tendencies from that. Hand selected barrels, that's the oak aged. You know, this is original. So this is oak aged, and that's rum oak aged. So I'm betting that's 57 additional days. Slowly unlocks these flavors deep. So that's where the sweetness is coming from. No wonder this doesn't taste like mine. We bottle it, release it. Honey-hued beer. It does have some vanilla. Yeah, that's the oak. I should be better at that. Serve at 4 to 6 degrees centigrade. So we're talking 38 to 42 degrees. Did I do that math semi-correct in my head? That sounds about right for an ale. 40 degrees, 45 degrees. That's about right, and this one is probably the same. Yep. So that's what you want those. Belgians you want to do, depending on how fruity the beer is, anywhere from 45 to 60 degrees. And then a lot of those fruity beers, if you don't have the cheese, the right cheese, you just can't enjoy it as much. It's usually a nice beer. So, man from Corsica, again, I thank you, sir. Thank you very much. This is a very good beer. And thanks for stopping by. Thanks for clicking like. Thanks for subscribing. If you have any other beers or anything else you want to see me review, just please put it in the comments below. I do read them. I thank you very much for all the comments, and I thank you for the new subscribers, and more content coming your way. I promise. All right. Thanks. Bye.